The thoughts, views, and comments expressed by the hosts, guests, and callers on Beyond the Headlines are not necessarily those of management, ownership, or production unit of the Verizon Media Group. Beyond the Headlines is a production of ILTV Studios and cannot be reproduced or represented in part or entirety without express written permission of the Verizon Media Group. Beyond the Headlines is the intellectual property of the Verizon Media Group. Copyright 2021.
Coming up tonight, residents of North Andros calling on the Department of Immigration to step out of the way of economic progress and get its feet off the necks of the Mennonite population on the island. We hear what's behind this strong stance. Also tonight, the Free National Movement in Grand Bahama. They're there to roll out the Grand Bahama slate of candidates in a rally on the island tonight. Tonight, FNM's event comes just days after the PLP rolled out its Grand Bahama slate. And so the question for you tonight, how important is Grand Bahama to whomever would win the next government? We discuss it. And former Prime Minister Dr. Hubert Minnis trending all week after announcing he will run as an independent. The FNM says Minnis should not run and should instead make decisions that would be in the party's best interest moving forward. It's all straight ahead for you this evening. This is Beyond the Headlines, Week in Review Fridays. Good evening. I'm Shanique Miller. It's great to have you along this evening. Well, North Andros say their already slow economy is being further stunted by an immigration decision to stop what are vital services provided by the Mennonite population of about 30 people on the island of Andros, North Andros in particular. The community leader spoke with Beyond the Headlines late this afternoon and shared some of his concerns.
Good afternoon, Shanique. A resident from community leader in North Andros. We are very concerned about the state of Andros, concerning with the Mennonite situation, which they are a great asset to Andros in terms of helping the communities. If there's a fire, they will be there. If there is roadside little work to be done, they will be there. If there are small home repairs, these people are there to help. They assist Andros in every capacity. We normally, they now close, even the bakery in Andros is closed, the small mechanic shop where do the small engine repairs is closed. The way you do all the car and wheel alignment and repairs, they are all closed. The welding shops are closed. The woodwork shops are closed. Even the bee where people get honey, people live off this honey now, and there is no one to harvest the honey, that is closed. So everything is primarily closed. The only thing that's operating right now is the farm and the vegetable section of the Mennonites. This is now, Shanique, a grave problem to North Andros and the entire parts of Andros, because everybody goes there for cars, repairs, and whatever have you. These people are vital to the growth and development of North Andros. These people build cabinets, and I talk about some of the best cabinets that built in this country are built right here. All of these are closed. This is unacceptable. Andros is a very slow-moving economy. It's in a great danger of the way we are, because we can't get things the way others can get it. But the little you have now has been stopped, and multiple cars are now parked waiting for wheel alignment and other mechanical work. And so I don't know how, but it is closed for renewal of work permit and renew permit.
Well, that resident reached out to Beyond the Headlines and urged me to, one, please see about this, look into it, and to feature it and to get them answers, as you heard. Now, we all are familiar with the Mennonite population in Andros. I was not familiar that they provided such vital services to the island, services that, according to that resident, not many people are skilled to be able to provide, and efficiently as well. Well, I reached out to Member of Parliament for North Andros, Leonardo Lightborn, who now joins me. Mr. Lightborn, hello to you. Welcome to Beyond the Headlines.
Good evening, Ms. Miller, and good evening, Bahamas. Thank you for having me.
Yes, well, it's good. Thank you for being here because we are seeking answers this evening about exactly what's happening. That resident said that everything has basically come to a standstill and is at a halt, which is impacting the operation of many businesses, people getting to and fro, being able to get things done. What's happening? He mentioned something about everything has been brought to a standstill because of work permit issues.
However, I'm quite aware of what the caller spoke of. In regards to the services they render, he is correct with that in terms of they provide many services, like he said, from roadsides, from small house repairs, to even sometimes they come out in the community and help with assist with the wildfires. And so the Mennonites have been in Andros for many years. They have served in that community capacity for quite some time, assisting residents and even the administrators. Anything that's called upon them, they normally step up to the forefront. However, there has been some issues in terms of work permits that has been issued. And I had the opportunity to speak with the minister responsible, the Honorable Mr. Alfred says, who assured me that they are in the process of renewing those permits, and some of them have already been renewed. So it's an ongoing process. Probably takes more time than it's not an overnight process, but they are in the process of having those work permits issued. And like I said, they are ongoing, and a few of them have already been issued. So I've know it's been some time, and perhaps we're just doing the right thing. None of us is above the law, and perhaps without no work permit, they can't pursue what they're doing now in the community. So that's why everything has kind of been to a halt. However, we hope it doesn't last too long because, like you said, cars are being parked. They help with mechanic workshops, they tools, engines, farmers. They all depend on the Mennonites for many essential goods and services in the community.
Yeah, it's obvious that these people have come into Andros now we've determined since the early 80s, maybe even before, and have made quite an impact and really a part of the community there and the community moving forward. The gentleman said it's been near 3 months now. Did Minister Sayers say to you how much longer this is going to be? Because according to how we hear it and what's been described, a number of businesses are being impacted by it, as well as daily life and movement.
Well, like I said, I spoke to the minister earlier today, and he assured me that the process is ongoing. They have already processed a few of the applications yesterday and a few days ago, and even I think one this morning or earlier today. So I think it's about 30 applicants that he has in hand, but however, they're going through the process. At this point, I can't tell you how many has been done, but I know a few of them has already been processed as we speak.
Now, you are quite aware of the role the Mennonites play in North Andros. What do you want to assure them, but in particular, the residents of North Andros who are scratching their heads, are nervous about where they see things going, which is really nowhere. Everything has been brought to a halt. What do you want to assure them of this evening?
Well, I can say that they have a member of parliament who stands with them, who understands what's going on in the community, and who wants to see things progress. And so I'll continue to see that what's at place continues to move forward. Like I said, the minister already assured me that some of them already have been approved. And so I guess this weekend, not weekend, but over in the next week or so, we should see more of those being processed. And however, the folks and residents of North Andros could say that they'll see some progress going forward.
I thank you very much, Leonardo Lightbourne, the Member of Parliament for North Andros and the Berry Islands. Thank you so much for being here. This is what this show does. Try to get answers as quickly as possible. You reach out. This is what we do. We try to get you the response, and we will continue to follow it to see this come to a mutually satisfactory end, for the island for Andros, and in particular North Andros. Thank you all so much. Don't go anywhere, because when we come back, we are going to pick up right there with the Hot Topics panel, and of course a whole lot more of some of what took place this week. Beyond the Headlines, Week in Review Fridays is back right after the break.
Hey, it's your boy Charlie Bahama here at Superwash, Superwash's newest spokesmodel. And I'm here to tell you about Superwash's large capacity washers and dryers for all your big loads.
I know I see that Charlie Banana coming here just now.
Luckily it's also big enough for me to hide it.
I thought he was right over here where these large capacity washer and dryers is.
ain't big enough now to handle your big loads, you know.
Yeah, like you come put on your blanket. But just look at us. Somebody forget to turn on the dryer. Oh, stop!
Damn. You hear something?
Yeah, that's the sound of clean.
Superwash washes you, processes you, and entertains you 24/7.
The Nassau Florist on Dowswell Street. We've been the keepers of your most beautiful messages since 1952. As Nassau's oldest florist, we don't just sell flowers, we craft the moments that words alone can't reach. This Valentine's Day, don't just send a bouquet, send a legacy of love. From the first I love you to a lifetime of I still do. We deliver your heart right on time. The Nassau Florist on Dowswell Street. Experience the tradition, celebrate the love. Order early for Valentine's Day. The Nassau Florist, open weekdays from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. and Saturdays 9 a.m. to 12 noon. Call 242-302-6121. That's 242-302-6121.
My name is Jonathan Ellis. I've been a pilot at Westner for 2.5 years, and I'm really passionate about aviation, and I love that Westner's given me an opportunity to pursue my passion by allowing me to fly the aircraft. What I love most about serving our customers are we fly families, we fly children, and we fly elders. Sometimes it's for holidays, sometimes it's family visits, business.
So I am Grand Bahamian, so I like to patronize Western Air because it is a Grand Bahamian airline, as well as they're always on time and I don't ever have to worry about arriving 2-3 hours later.
We show love and appreciation to our passengers by getting them to their destination safely and on time. Makes us feel good.
This segment is brought to you by EV Motors Fleet Sales Division. For 2026 commercial vehicles, call 821-2403 today.
It's Week in Review Fridays, but we're going to pick up right where we left off at the top of the show tonight, and that, of course, is the matter of the Mennonite situation in North Andros. Now, we know that the Department of Immigration has been very intentional of cracking down on, I guess, migrant communities for quite some time. We've seen it play out in Spanish Wells and across the country, really. But people were very upset in Andros that, listen, these people are part of us. They provide vital services, as you heard the gentleman say at the top of the show. You heard the Member of Parliament also come behind and support that. But you all, well, first, let's bring in the Hot Topics panel. It's good to have you all here. Leslie Miller, Michael Turnquest, Glenroy Pratt, Howard Johnson. Good evening to both of you, to all of y'all.
Good evening. Good evening.
Good evening, colleagues. Good evening, Bahamas.
Good evening, colleagues. Good evening, Shanique. Good evening, Bahamas.
Gentlemen, yes, absolutely. Good evening once again. Let's jump right in. Immigration and I guess this very tough stance and approach it is now showing moving forward. But was it necessary, you all think, to do this in a community or with a community that has been a staple for so many years?
You know, Shanique, I believe, nobody's above the law, like the member of parliament stated. But I think the meningites have been there. I think from '83, they provide essential services to a lot of companies. And I used to work at BTC in charge of the fleet. They used to work on our vehicles, and they offer services to essential companies such as BTC and others in that community. I think this is something. I don't know what had happened, but being there 30-some years, one would have thought that they would have had some type of residency.
Yeah.
Some status, because these people, I don't think they're going anywhere anytime soon or in the near future. So you would have thought that this was something that they could have sorted by having a conversation, at the same time keeping businesses open to allow them to provide essential services to that community, rather than just shutting everything down, because that's lifelines to people that reside down there, to the Androsians. Like I said, for 30-some years, you'd have thought that, but these people would have already applied for some, and they own a lot of land. There's been a lot of controversy around the Mennonites, in terms of the land that they would have acquired over the time that they've been there. But sure, they're not new to, to Andros at all.
Leslie, jump in. We'll move on after this. After you're done.
The Mennonites has been in Andros now for over 50 years. Made a valuable contribution to that community. Really been peaceful, God-loving people. Don't get involved in no controversy. But anytime there's a problem, they pitch in and help free of charge. It behooves me that someone from the ministry could have, went down there and decided that they have to make some moves. One would have thought that they would have stopped Bahamas there from going to Dam Haiti 3 times a week, bringing that crew in, right? If you don't do something meaningful, like go to the airport on Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday, and see who's coming in. All the pregnant women in there. Do you think you can manage that? And leave God-fearing, decent people alone who provides assistance instead of take. That's my view on that. Leave the people alone, man.
Now, Howard and Glenroy, I'm not sure if you all can hear us in real time. Go ahead, Glenroy. I see you nodding your head.
Yeah, absolutely. And like Mr. Miller mentioned, those folks have been there for over 50 years, and they've become a part of the fabric of the Bahamian society, even though they may be in isolation in some ways as well. The fact is that they've been contributing, and we have new people filtering in that seem to have much more leeway, and obviously when we're approaching these types of scenarios, we need to do it with the proper guidance and the proper instructions.
Maybe they should get Louis George. They have him out there. You want with them? Call Louis George. Call Louis George. You want everything you want? Call Louis George.
Leslie, Louis George has a government appointment, right?
I don't know what the hell he got.
Howard, your thoughts?
Government car too, I think.
Stop it, Michael. Michael, stop.
Really?
Michael?
I think. I don't know.
No, stop thinking. Stop thinking. Listen, this show ain't for thinking. It's for thinking, but you understand, it ain't for thinking. Howard, jump in.
Yeah, we might not think of those lovely folks as part of the mainstream of the Bahamian society, but they are a part of our fabric, as Glenroy has stated. And we just have to do things professionally and in order. And we have to always seek, no matter how much we have persons on the fringes of our society, as long as they are here and they have come the right way, we have to seek to create an equitable and just society that benefits everybody.
Absolutely. Gentlemen, and all great points, and hopefully that gets resolved very soon, because truly when you think of Andros, they come to mind almost instantly. They've been there and they have made themselves
dignified people.
They've made themselves totally invaluable, the service they provide and how they kind of just get in there and help build community. Meanwhile, gentlemen, though, the Free National Movement is rolling out its slate of candidates in Grand Bahama this evening. They are having a rally there on the island, much like earlier this week that we saw, and we'll get to that in a bit. However, this evening, opposition leader Michael Pintard will be the keynote at the official rollout. Now, gentlemen, I want to talk about this, and we do have a reporter there. We'll take a look at that. You all saw in tonight's newscast as well, the live drop there. But winning Grand Bahama, or at least maintaining the amount of seats in Grand Bahama that the Free National Movement now holds, let's just talk about how important it is for the FNM to make a very important, necessary impression on the island of Grand Bahama and in the constituencies where these candidates will begin canvassing all over again. Your thoughts on why it's important for the F&M to maintain and perhaps even add to the number of seats they now hold in Grand Bahama?
Well, I think, Shanique, I think the F&M needs to sweep Grand Bahama in order to show, a strong showing at the next upcoming election. I don't think if it's going to be, a kind of down to the, I would say, split half and half or three quarters, then I think we can expect kind of get an idea of what the expectation may be in terms of the election results. But I think if you see the F&M walk away, I think it's 5 seats?
Five seats, yes.
5 seats in Grand Bahama, then I think that normally shows that, hey, more than likely the opposition could win the next general election.
East, 92.
Yeah.
They won 5 then?
Yep, all.
Yeah.
Started in 92.
So that's it. I mean, it's clear cut as that. I mean, and I think once you see one of the sitting and one or two, start to get, bump out as the election results come in, I think that they might tell the tale in terms of what direction the election results might go in.
Yeah. Glenroy, your thoughts?
Yeah, I think obviously the Grand Bahama was known as the F&M city or something in the past. And obviously there is a lot of angst and frustration among some of the Grand Bahamians relative to their progress and the development at large. And people are looking for opportunities, and it seems as if it's fleeting. And as a result of it, there is going to be a shift. How much that shift is depends on how much investment opportunities are in that land. The challenge, though, is the government has a short window, from now and election to make any major turn in terms of what the economy would look like there. And so when people are going to the polls, they're going to go to the polls with their pocket. And most of those persons with their pocket have lint in their pocket. And as a result, they will mark their X.
Have lint, Glenroy. I want to ask you this before Howard jumps in. And I told Leslie and Michael this. I told Leslie and Michael this and I wasn't even going to bring it up until I got video to back it up. But they both can support me with this. From someone I don't recognize, WhatsApp me and sent voice notes about the crowds of people spilling out of Celebration Key today and the need for additional taxis. Now, I'd love to, of course, speak with the transportation sector and union and president or association over there to really see what's happening. But we are hearing more and more of this, Glenroy.
In terms of the
in terms of Celebration Key now making its impact or now mushrooming over and out on the outer skirts of Grand Bahama.
Yeah, but I still think it's not to the point where it needs to be felt. I mean, and obviously people walking the street doesn't mean it translates into actual dollar bills in people's pockets. And that's one of the challenges. We often brag about how many tourists we have coming into our country. We talk about millions of tourists. But how much of those tourists actually spend dollars within the country? Mm-hmm. And so that is where we need to figure out how can we get some of that dollars to land in the hands of the Bahamian people so that they could have lives that they can sustain. Right now is really tough. And so unless you have some type of wares that is actually attractive to those individuals, we will find ourselves just bragging about numbers, but doesn't translate into actual tangible dollar bills.
And Shanique, I mean, that's always been my key concern about these keys. We're developing all these keys. At the end of the day, we're taking people off of cruise ships and taking them to these private islands or keys. To me, I don't see other than, you're saying taxi cab, we need more taxis. But at the end of the day, are we creating a well-rounded economy in the event, that something goes wrong? We're not. The voice note that went out in terms of, we need more taxis. Why we can't just get a video showing the long lines of people waiting to catch taxis? I haven't seen that. So at the end of the day, I have my...
No, I've heard, I'll tell you just this week alone, I've heard from other residents, not the transportation sector. That individual, I don't even know that individual, I assume they're male. but I've heard from women running households, single mothers, talking about now you'd better get to the food stores early on. People are shopping and showing up in more numbers. Items are being sold out. So if you want fresh items and produce and the rest of it, get to the food stores early. Just this week.
Grand Bahama,
Grand Bahama, just this week. I'm telling you, just this week it was volunteered to me, as they normally do, to give me an idea. To give me an idea. No, people shop, meaning people shopping. This is what they're saying.
Like I said, if this is what's happening and is actually people are feeling, I guess, there's not lint in their pocket, that means money's in their pocket and they're actually spending it.
But this is what I was led to believe.
It would reflect at the polls.
Until the governor of Bahamas make a concerted effort to diversify and expand our economy, not away from tourism, but for us to get the benefits of the tourism sector, for us to complement the tourism sector, the country's going to remain the same. The IDB, the World Bank, everybody last week said, listen, you must diversify. You must create jobs. You must look at light industries. You must advance these sectors. The problem is the people who work for the government do the opposite. They don't support local industry. And the economy is going to be stagnated for the next 10, 20 years until the government make an affirmative action that we will support local industry. We will support import substitution entities and force Bahamians to buy Bahamian, just like what Trump is doing in the United States. Made in America.
Mr. Miller, to your point, some years ago, I can't remember under which administration, it was a large focus on local
manufacturing. Industry Development Council, we formed in 1983.
And there was a lot of focus in that regard to get more Bahamians, entrepreneurs, to create factories. A lot of
a lot of people lose millions of dollars and it's been gutted by the government. People who they got Ministry of Works and these other ministries that went after us like a battle to hell to destroy us. And they're still there. And I can take you to most of the places in this country that the government run who don't support local industry. Unless they make up their mind to be serious. And most of the members of parliament don't support local industry.
Things like
most of them.
Soldier Road Industrial Park and some of these areas that was built for these kind of manufacturing, local manufacturing companies to be.
Holidays was the first company there.
We just walked. It seems as though we gradually just walked away from that, and those industries do not exist anymore.
Because in the mind of the government, ladies and gentlemen, if it ain't foreign, it ain't no good. I expect to see
it's not the government.
Little babies with a sticker on their backside saying made in China.
Leslie, let me tell you something, Leslie. But the manufacturing industry that you're talking about must also be competitive and attractive.
It is competitive and very...
why people... So why? See, the government can't force...
Because the government don't support it.
The government cannot force Michael, all the rest of us to go and buy local.
The government is the biggest user of products.
You know what has happened in I would say in the manufacturing for some time. We have made raw materials at one point duty free. Then it's switched. Then it's almost like a roller coaster for a lot. And
people average Bahamian, if it ain't foreign, it ain't no good. Let's face it.
Look at you. Look at
you.
You just came right back and agreed to me.
Foreign, it ain't no good.
That's what I'm saying, and that is the Bahamian mindset. They know what they want, but they want.
If you don't come from over the bar,
they know what they want, and there's also a bigger now sort of appetite for a product that has been elevated. A product that says organic, all this stuff. And what I'm saying is, if we want to compete, we've got to compete seriously and show up in the space.
It's the mindset of a people. And the government is the catalyst enforcing it to happen. And they don't want it to happen. But they have never made it happen.
We have to have a holistic view. I mean, when you come around manufacturing, we have to be able to reduce electricity bills.
Yes.
Or allow them to do solar or some alternative energy in order to make the pricing right to provide to consumers.
But the government got to take the lead.
Yeah. Well, listen, I want to get it back to exactly what it is. There's a reason I brought up Grand Bahama. One, we've got to give it the attention. This is the official opposition having a rally in Grand Bahama tonight. I want to start by saying I want to name off first the 5 candidates who will be vying for to be elected on the island of Grand Bahama. We know there are some incumbents there as well, but here's the list. Frazette Gibson in Central Grand Bahama, Kwesi Thompson, East Grand Bahama, Michael Pintard, Marco City, Dr. Charlene Reed, Pine Ridge, and Omar Isaacs, West End. What can we say about those candidates? We don't have to go, each person doesn't have to talk about the whole list, but just who is strong, who looks appealing, who is showing up in their constituency on the island of Grand Bahama and will be hard to beat. Does
I
everybody?
mean, you have two of the incumbents that currently sit there. I think, Crazy and the leader. Some say, the leader might have a fight with the guy. I can't remember his name. Goodness, mine's the name.
Eddie Wong.
Yes,
Eddie Wong win.
Yes. So, but I think the other three. I don't think one or two of them are not new to Grand Bahama. A lot of people know they've been ingrained in the community for some time. Like I said, Grand Bahama will be an interesting mix to see, what's the outcome of it. I think it's a very hard one to call as it relates to, you have mixed reports as it relates to Grand Bahama not doing so well, and you say, things are flying off the shelves.
It depends on who you speak with.
Yeah,
even if I can quote David Wallace. Even David Wallace has been on the show quite a number of times, and each time he appears, he volunteers that you can't find apartments on Grand Bahama, that people are returning home to Grand Bahama, that people are working, and this is what he has volunteered.
Who's this?
Who?
David Wallace.
David Wallace.
Who?
David Wallace.
Yeah.
Yes, David Wallace. And so I'm saying these are credible people, community leaders, union leaders, taxi drivers, people in the various industries who are reaching out to be on the headlines and giving this information
Listen, even
to
the
us.
Ministry of Tourism is now City Hall for the Uber people to come to Nassau. Taxi drivers said they don't want them. I saw the papers this morning. A senior official in tourism say bring Uber.
We saw that they're open to it. We'll see exactly what the taxi industry has got to obviously begin to
one thing, the ladies
show up in this new space.
Yeah.
Glenroy and Howard, you all are very quiet, not sure what's going on. Please don't wait to be called out. Go ahead.
Yeah. So Shanique, as far as I'm concerned, I think that East Grand Bahama, Kwesi Thompson seat is possibly the safest one for the F&M. I think
more so than the leader?
Crazy could win that seat even
so than the leader?
More quickly than the leader could win Marco City, because Marco City has been one of those seats that kind of flip-flop back and forth.
But Howard, it re-elected Michael Pinchard at least 2 successive times, yes?
Yes.
Yeah.
And East Grand Bahama has been in the F&M column for a very long time as well.
Let Howard finish.
I also believe that Pine Ridge is going to be very competitive, with Ginger Moxie seeking to return, but you have a great candidate in Dr. Charlene Reed, and you also have Reverend McAlpine,
that's the sleeper right there,
an independent that you really have to watch out for. Central Grand Bahama is also, going to be competitive. You have Fraser Gibson for the F&M in there, the incumbent Hiram Lewis, who's going for the COI. And then I can't remember the PLP's candidate, but we got to watch that one too. That's what I'm saying right now.
Glenroy, your thoughts?
Yeah, I think there is going to be a really competitive scenario in Grand Bahama. But again, go back to the point, right now the economy has not reached to the level that it needs to in terms of favoring the government to be successful. I think while there is some roads in that direction, there's a reality of the struggle that the Bahamian people are facing in Grand Bahama. And so when you have a messaging basically that shows that, okay, over the last 4.5 years or so, you've been in a stagnated state, and now all of a sudden things seem to be going right, doesn't mean that it's going to be long term. There have been many missteps in terms of trying to turn the economy around in Grand Bahama, many mispronouncements, many statements of money in the bank and all this other stuff that actually puts them in a good favored position to have a greater level of victory in Grand Bahama. And again, keep in mind, if the people in Grand Bahama were predominantly supporters of the F&M, the fact is that when that comes back into play, they would remember the times of 4.5 years of suffering, and they would say to themselves, hey, listen, we're going to go back to where we probably want things to be so that we can at least try to get some elevation in terms of our personal economies.
Grand Bahama is probably going to be the one competitive island where each candidate, each and every one, PLP and F&M, is going to have the fight of their life.
Yep.
In every constituency to win.
Yes.
And anyone can win. And I was told that the leader opposition is a good MP in his own area, that he helps PLPs, F&Ms, etc.
Correct.
But, with the amount of projects that's on the board was enunciated this week by the Prime Minister and those, I think one of the salient points in this election in Grand Bahama is what is people going to focus on. our Prime Minister has made it a point that he wants to see a paradigm shift in how Grand Bahama is governed by a private entity. And if one person is prepared to make that change, it's Philip Brave Davis. And that's going to be crucial to the mindset on the future outlook on what Grand Bahama could be like if there's some significant change between the government and the Grand Bahama Port Authority, especially with the case that's now in arbitration, on the government trying to buy Freeport Power and Light. What is the future going to look like? Who are you going to put your future's hand in that could better your life? That's what it's all about. 50 years ago, 20 years ago, 30 years ago, the Magic City was the hub of industry and commerce in our country next to New Providence. After the death of good friend Sir Edward St. George, he took Freeport with him. You need some catalyst, some genius. You need a maverick to inject capital in Grand Bahama and bring it back to what it used to be or better. And that's what I'm waiting for. This fella, to come out of the woodworks and say, listen, we can do better than this, because we can. The closest island to the eastern seaboard of the United States have all the facilities that's available for industry as well as tourism. We got to find that cohesion of men and women and investors to get together as a grouping, with the government being on board, the Port Authority being on board, especially to some degree, in a lighter frame of mind, and make it work. But I just hope to God, for the sake of our brothers and sisters in Grand Bahama, that will happen one day and happen more sooner than later.
It doesn't sound like we need to send you to Grand Bahama.
It sounds just like.
That ain't happen. You don't want to bother me.
Go ahead, Howard.
Shanique, quickly. So I agree. It's going to be very competitive because, listen, at this point, if the Progressive Liberal Party government and Mr. Davis himself, Prime Minister Davis, if they were to be honest with themselves, I'm pretty sure that they would have wanted to be further along than they are at this point, okay? Everybody knows that. The PLP would have liked to be further along because they want that to happen. And of course, that was part of the mantra in getting the F&M out of office in 2021 because nothing was going on. And so when you look at some of the things that Glenroy talked about that have not happened, it's going to be competitive from that standpoint, but also this was an opportunity for the Free National Movement. What they should have done is gotten their candidates out there even earlier. I don't think the F&M opposition, who won 7 seats in 2021 to the government's 32, should have waited and launched candidates at the same time as the governing party with a super huge majority.
You're right.
You don't want to get tired now. If you go there too early, you get down.
No, but that's fine.
Listen,
but
but they should be out there to get a head start.
They should have been, they should have had a head start. Because think about the swing, Leslie. The swing is you got to go from 32. You got to go from all of these seats down to 21 up. Because 21 is the magic number to win the government.
You check the last 6 elections, and you'll see. You got 26 today. Next time you get down 7. And listen, don't trust them Bahamian people, When they're ready for you, they can take you out. Only God can save you. I can tell you about it. So
beyond the headlines,
I
thank you all, gentlemen. I thank you all very, very much. I know it's an abbreviated segment, but I thank you all so much for this Weekend Review Fridays and great analysis. In fact, we never even talked about the PLP rollout in Grand Bahama. We didn't do that this week, but the Progressive Liberal Party on Wednesday evening did have its own rollout on the island of Grand Bahama, where they introduced their slate of candidates to the Grand Bahama electorate. We will obviously revisit that moving forward. Don't go anywhere though. Beyond the Headlines will be back right after this.
Once something becomes the common behavior, it is the common behavior. When you operate at that level, personal emotions simply cannot float to the top.
For the average normal person that goes to the store, things like that affect us.
They must be judicious in the execution of their duty.
Well, I think whatever the nurses want, give it to them.
Pages, you know, you do everything on your phone now. You see how old he was?
What are we walking back? That Bimini is no longer an island?
That's
okay,
not
because
what he was trying
because
to
he also
say. Well, I don't even know what breadbasket anymore either. What do y'all people say?
Okay, guys, this is what we doing today. We training for the bounce back. This 150K payday. Y'all ready? Yes. Y'all sweating today. Give me a 2 ball. 10. Give me another 2 ball. 15. You spin, right? It don't look so. It's 10K. Name these games after me. Food Dragon.
Food Dragon.
Cinema Classic.
Cinema Classic.
Yeah. Put that parlay in. Put that in. You know, Jalen Brunson disappointed us last time. You want to walk for this or you want to run for this? Good pace. Good pace. Not too much water. Put it down. Let's go.
It's the Bounce Back 150K payday. Big wins for 10 weeks straight. 15K every week. 10K to a lucky winner. Visit islandluck.com for more info. Island Luck. Winners live here.
Every great idea starts with courage. Every successful business starts with belief.
And every woman deserves the opportunity to turn her vision into reality. The Fox Foundation Women Entrepreneurship Initiative is back, bigger, bolder, and more powerful than ever. This year, Give to Gain honors women who gave their very best, their time, their talent, their sacrifice, and their vision to succeed in innovation-driven and emerging industries.
This initiative is about investing in women who are ready to lead, build, and grow. It's about creating a real pathway to success in a new era of business.
This year's program features 2 dynamic panel discussions designed to inspire action at every level. This year also features a distinguished international speaker, bringing global insight, helping to empower women to think bigger and lead boldly.
We're proud to grant over $75,000 in funding to emerging businesses and aspiring entrepreneurs ready to take the next step. If you have an idea, a business, or a dream worth building, now is the time.
Grant applications are open until February 28th. This is more than just an event. It is a powerful networking experience.
Surround yourself with women who mean business.
Join us as we give to gain.
Give your best, build what's next, and gain what matters.
This segment is brought to you by EV Motors Fleet Sales Division. For 2026 commercial vehicles, call 821-2403 today.
Welcome back to Beyond the Headlines. It's good to have you all tuned in. We are continuing with some of the biggest stories that had your attention all week long, in fact, right up to this evening. And that is the issue of Dr. Minnis, former Prime Minister, Member of Parliament for Killarney, announcing that he will run in this 2026 general election as an independent. That news didn't sit well with the Free National Movement and its leadership. In fact, FNM leader Michael Pintard said he's disappointed with the announcement. Many other of the leadership in the Free National Movement too had their say, expressing the same sentiments of disappointment and the fact that Dr. Minnis if he were truly an F&M and a team player, he would just back out of the way and not be a distraction for the Free National Movement. Some say also, why are you willing to destroy your legacy in such a way? Well, also this week, one of the leadership of the Free National Movement, Dionisio de Aguilar, former Minister of Tourism and Member of Parliament, sat right here with me on Beyond the Headlines. And here's what he had to say about Dr. Minnis' decision.
Already had a leadership battle. Michael Pintard is the leader of the Free National Movement. It was a decisive victory. 75% of the people who voted for Michael Pintard. He is the new leader. I mean, it's difficult for the former leader to maybe accept the new leader, but we have a new leader. We have a new vision. We have a new direction. And it's up to him, if he wants to stay involved, to come to caucus meetings, to go along with the party leadership, as we all did when he was leader. We all afforded him that request. And may I remind you, those that did not were expelled, were done away with. For example, I ran in Montague that became Freetown. There was a sitting member up there, Richard Lightboard. I never forget going in and meeting with Dr. Minnis. I said, where are you going to put me? He said, I'm going to put you in Montague. And I said, why are you going to put me in Montague? There's already a sitting member there. He said, oh, no, he's gone. So he knows exactly how this works. He's a former leader. There's a new leader. Please come to the meetings, participate. I am 100% sure that he would have been nominated as the candidate for Kalani had he just agreed to participate.
If he was a team player.
If he was a team player, come, meet, accept the fact that Michael Pintard is the leader. I mean, you may not like it because you were the leader, but accept what the party has decided, get involved, and you know, I want to dispel this belief that the F&M was stink to Dr. Minnis. That is certainly not the case.
The F&M was not stink to Dr. Minnis?
No, we reached out to him and tried. Okay, I'll admit this. Maybe coming out of the leadership battle, it was a bit bumpy. Okay, there's some hard feelings there. So maybe that period after that. But once we got over that, once we got on to, okay, let's think about nominating candidates, come, be a team player. Are you going to help the Pintard administration if they're victorious? No interest, none whatsoever. Every time you try to make up a meeting with him, he's not available, he's not coming, it's all the rest of it. I mean, at some stage, I always say, if you have a boyfriend, right? Or you have a husband or a boyfriend, let's say boyfriend, and you being nice to them, and they keep spurning you, and they ain't showing up, and they ain't showing you no love. What you do with them?
Not interested.
You get rid of them.
Yeah.
And so, unfortunately, that's the way it ended, and it's very, very unfortunate. I mean, I worked with Dr. Minnis.
Yes.
I loved working with him. He was a wonderful boss to me. I mean, I cannot say anything bad about him as my boss, as the Minister of Tourism serving in his cabinet. He was great. But, you know, sometimes you have to see the writing on the wall.
Well, there you have it. That's just a tip of the iceberg of what took place this week as it relates to Dr. Minnis' announcement. Howard continues to stick around with me in this segment. So, Howard, it's good to have you sticking around. Let's just jump right in, Howard. You saw the F&M leadership response about after Dr. Minnis made his announcement. You saw on this show Dionisio de Aguilar say, listen, man, the F&M was not stink to Dr. Minnis. Yeah, little hiccups here and there, but not stink. Had he been a team player, more than likely he would have gotten that same Kalani nomination, but under the Free National Movement's banner. But bigger than that, why are you sticking around? Why do you want to ruin your legacy? Why at 73 you want to run? Howard, your thoughts of how that all played out this week?
Well, Shanique, we're at the point now where we're talking about cause and effect, or response versus stimuli. So the F&M had every right to do whatever it wanted with its nomination. If Dr. Minnis isn't coming around, if Dr. Minnis isn't being a team player, and the body politic of the Free National Movement feels that warrants him not getting a nomination, they are within their right to strip him of said nomination and give it to someone else, which is what they did. But that's all you can control. That's all you are lording over. What Dr. Minnis does after that is up to Dr. Minnis. If Dr. Minnis wanted to run independent, which it looks like he is going to do, join another party, start another political party, or go home, all of those options are or were available to Dr. Minnis, and he has decided which of those options he wants to choose. And he has been Prime Minister of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. there's only been 5 men who've achieved that higher office. If Hubert Alexander Minnis wants to roll the dice on his future as an elected representative, the dice has already been rolled on his future as prime minister. Okay, he served 1 term and was swept out of office. He served 4 terms as an MP, and now he's going for his 5th. He has the right to decide that he wants to go further and run for a 5th consecutive term as a member of parliament. That choice is reserved exclusively to Hubert Alexander Minnis.
Why do you suppose the FNM is so bothered? That's the question I asked. They said, no, we're not bothered. We're not bothered. We kind of just sort of looking out for him and for his legacy, but we're not bothered.
Well, I believe in the back of the leadership's mind, Dr. Minnis still wants to be the leader of the FNM and get another go round to run for Prime Minister of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. And were I Mr. Pintard, and I'm not, he has the right to do what he wants to do. Mr. Pintard beat Dr. Minnis head-to-head, pound for pound, on 2 separate occasions. He won very comfortably the first time, and he won convincingly the second time. And so to have Dr. Hubert Minnis stay in the fold, irrespective of the fact that, I'm hearing he didn't come to certain meetings and he didn't show up for this and for that. Well, I'm not here to take up for Dr. Minnis, but I can vividly recall, because I came into frontline politics on the tail end of Prime Minister Hubert Ingram's political career. And when Dr. Minnis's leadership in the Free National Movement started in earnest, I could count on 1 or 2 hands when Hubert, Prime Minister Ingram showed up, former Prime Minister Ingram showed up at anything that the Free National Movement was having in terms of council meetings or just, regular events. Most of the time when he's invited, or he would make a surprise entrance. But I can't understand for the life of me why that one would stick, because no one expects for a former prime minister, no less, to sit in every single meeting that the Free National Movement or a constituency association is having once the doors are open.
Howard, listen, we're going to continue moving along this evening. We're going to wrap up right now, but first I want to get this in. Our Rebecca Bain traveled to South Andros over the last weekend, and she went there to determine the political temperature. We've been hearing a lot about exactly where South Andros stands and what people are thinking or not thinking. But she went there last weekend and she gave us this report earlier this week. Let's take a look at what Rebecca found out in terms of what's emerging on the island of South Andros.
The 2026 general election is fast approaching, and in Mangrove Key, Central and South Andros, voters are beginning to weigh their options. The seat has been held by the Progressive Liberal Party for nearly 2 decades, with current Member of Parliament Leon Lundy seeking a second term.
Mr. Lundy has done a whole lot in the area, and the good thing about it too, he is creating jobs for the younger persons, which was really needed in the area.
Lundy is expected to face Free National Movement candidate Julian Gibson in the upcoming race. Gibson previously sought the nomination in the 2021 election, but lost ratification to D'Angelo Johnson. This time around, some residents say they have yet to decide which direction they will go.
I really don't know, but my prayer is that God's will be done. Whatever God's will is, then that's my prayer.
While some constituents have praised Lundy for work done during his current term, others say there are still several issues that need greater attention.
In Central Andros, we need banking. We don't have that, and for the business community, it's kind of difficult. We need ambulance. Everybody said, we need that ambulance. When somebody is sick now, we got to carry them most times on the back of a truck if it's really bad.
But for some voters, their decision is not being driven by the election timeline.
A lot of things that he's promised he's doing. I know that he can't do everything one time, it's one day at a time.
Lundy says he has been working to address a number of the issues raised by residents, adding that efforts to improve the community are already underway.
We've already made some headway regarding the banking issue. I know just recently Commonwealth Bank announced that they're about to put an ATM machine 24-hour ATM machine down in Central Andros. We actually have some ambulances that are earmarked for the island, and we're just waiting on some ENT training to be done for those ambulances to come over to ensure that the ambulance just wouldn't sit up, but it'll be able to be used in the event we have an emergency. And we're building a new clinic facility right now in Mangrove Key that's ongoing.
As Election Day draws closer, the contest for Mangrove Key Central and South Andros is shaping up to be one to watch, with voters ultimately deciding who will represent them in the next parliament. Rebecca Bain, Eyewitness News.
Well, Howard, your thoughts on what's happening? Leon Lundy, you heard him there in that report saying that he is sort of checking various, especially important matters, and getting them off the list. I can tell you just this morning, I saw, and it's funny that we are sort of doing our week in review and including that report. I just saw on WhatsApp, in fact, that an ambulance has landed somewhere in the South Andros area. I know that there are sort of 3 areas that make up South Andros, so I can't pinpoint where. I hope to learn more and obviously update our viewers. But your thoughts on how the South Andros race is looking right now? You're muted. I think you're muted, Howard.
No, I'm not muted. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. So I'm just so happy that they have an ambulance. I'm sure that that's needed. You know, as someone coming from a small family island community, I know that these things are important. Unfortunately, they get attached to politics sometimes. And, you know, people would tend not to celebrate those things. Now, what Mr. Lundy is doing is he is extolling the virtues and checking things off the list, like you said, that has been done in his term as the current member of parliament. You can't blame him for doing that, you know, and rightly so. And that's what he is going to be running on as he goes into this election season. He has to run on the record that's been established. Julian Gibson can't be counted out, though. Julian Gibson, I was to find out, I grew up in Eleuthera, Julian Gibson, knowing Julian Gibson, a household name with Z and S in the news and in media. And but I found out when I was running in South Beach a little over 10 years ago that Julian's mom is from South Andros. I was on a political trip to South Andros, and the person introduced me to Julian's mom. We stopped at her house, and boy, she could cook too. So Julian Gibson has South Andros roots, but I want to talk about what he brings to the table in terms of his personality. This race, I believe, is going to be competitive too, because even though Lundy is doing stuff, Julian has a personality. He is a go-getter. He is a hard worker. People like him. He's very approachable, a funny guy. And so all of these things, I believe he's going to bring to bear on the campaign, and he is going to fight. I'm going to be watching this one with a close eye because I think it's going to be competitive. So but I still believe Lundy has the edge.
So you're saying Lundy has the edge, but you're saying this South Andros, South Central and Mangrove Key Andros is shaping up to be one of those must-watch races as well.
Yes, and I can't wait until we get to it on Temperature Check so I can dig in some more with some of my friends down there in that Central South Andros area so that I can find out exactly what's going on so I can give some more informed analysis on that.
In fact, we are overdue for a Family Island seat on Temperature Check, but this Wednesday, meaning just in a few days, early next week on Wednesday, we are going to look at Yamacraw. What's happening there? What are the candidates there? What are they saying? Of course, you know, it's Zane Lightbourne, the incumbent. It's Ellsworth Johnson. He held the seat before as Member of Parliament. Then, of course, there's the COI candidate and perhaps even an independent. And so we will certainly be giving you all the rundown on Yamacraw next Wednesday on Temperature Check. Howard Johnson, thank you so much for sticking around in this segment. And of course, to my other panelists who had to kind of leave early, thank you very much as well. And a huge thank you to all of you for tuning in all week long. It's been awesome having you hang out. I look forward to seeing you right back here on Monday evening. For the entire Beyond the Headlines team, I'm Shanique Miller. Make it a blessed weekend, everyone.